Hi, welcome to Midday Roast with Team SI. I'm Laney Bird, and with me today is John Morgan, our Director of Analytics here at Team SI. Midday Roast is a chance for us here at Team SI to share what's going on in digital media marketing and data worlds. And today we're talking about something that's going to happen in July, something Google has rolled out to us, an algorithm update. So first off, it's kind of interesting. Google is rolling out algorithm updates really to improve user experience. So they roll out these algorithm updates to make their search engines more user-friendly and to try to cause some action among the people that run websites. And that's definitely why they're doing this one. We're calling it the mobile speed update. So why don't you tell us in general what a ranking algorithm is, John, and in depth why Google does these.
Yeah, sure. Well, this one is a little bit different from usual because we usually don't get advance notice when these are going to be rolled out to us. Usually they are an update overnight or something that just goes live one day and people start to notice that there's a difference in their traffic or a difference in their rankings. And so then people start to say, oh, well, this happened in specific industries or specific devices or specific types of results. So this is an algorithm update, and the way that the algorithm updates work is basically Google will update a small part of the algorithm that calculates how a page ranks in search results for a given query. And so it can vary, like I said, depending on what kind of content is on the page, or in this case, what device is performing the search.
Cool. So it seems like this is really based off of site speed, specifically site speed on mobile. And why is that important for Google?
Yeah, well, site speed has been increasingly important, and I think we were actually talking about this the other day. Site speed has always been something that's important, but now because of the different devices that are performing the searches, site speed is becoming increasingly important for mobile specifically. Over the past few years, really, as people have begun to rely more and more on their phones or smartphones and whatnot to carry out these searches, and when they search for, usually when people search, they need something in the moment. They don't want to wait around and wait till they get back home and find a result. They need something now or 5 minutes ago. And so that's why it's so important for the algorithms to serve up pages that are going to respond quickly so that people can get what they want as fast as possible.
Yeah, I mean, Google's data tells us that over half of all overall web traffic comes from mobile devices now, and except that mobile conversions rank lower than desktop. That means people are having a poor experience on mobile because they're not finalizing, they're not transacting on mobile. And one of the primary reasons Google's saying is because it's slow. Because people don't want to wait. Because people, if they have to wait more than 3 to 5 seconds, are abandoning their task and going to find another place to find the right answer.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So who does this algorithm update impact?
Well, it's going to impact anybody that has a slow page on a mobile device. So it's pretty broad, but Google has said that it affects a small percentage of queries, of search queries. So it's not going to be one of those deals that everybody's rankings are going to drop overnight or everybody's rankings are going to increase overnight. There will probably be a wide variety of reactions that we see depending on the types of pages and how much of a difference there is in average page load speeds from device to device and page to page. But
yeah, and Google's told us that primarily in the retail, travel, and healthcare sectors are areas that need the most improvement, that have the space for the most improvement. So if you have a doctor's practice, a healthcare system, if you run a travel agency, if you run a things to do place in Little Rock, or if you're running a retail store, you better pay attention because it's more than likely going to be a query related to you that is going to be affected by these algorithm changes. All right, so what's going to happen as a result of this impact? If my site's slow, what's Google going to do to me? And how am I going to feel it?
Well, what generally happens and what has happened with the desktop equivalent of these algorithm updates over the past couple of years is as Google realizes and probably already knows how slow your pages are loading for these given device types, you will see generally a drop in your rankings, and you will be kind of outranked by faster sites that are able to serve up an answer to a question or a problem to a solution that the users have. And so the caveat to that is Google has also said if a page has really exceptional content, then they may still rank really well. I mean, this isn't going to be a rule that is so strict that only the fastest pages are going to rank. Does that make sense? So if a page has really good content, it could still outrank a faster page. But the key is the content, and we always say that the content is king. I think we beat that one pretty hard.
For 10 years we did that one. Yeah. So content is king. If you have good content, you may survive. If you have noteworthy content that they're pulling into an info block, very much so, even more, you will survive. We do think that search engine marketing will have a role in this, and you may be able to spend some money to pay for ads to offset it, but that's going to increase the competition on SEM. And I actually think Google has not told us this, that there will be some quality score issues related to mobile speed also. So if your site is slow, you're going to pay more for a click, rather if your site is fast. Google has also rolled out this thing called AMP. So tell me what AMP is and how we could use that.
Yeah, good point there. Accelerated mobile pages, or AMP pages, or AMP as a technology, is basically a really boiled down version of a page, and it strips out any of the really flashy stuff that can slow down a page load speed, and there are some really strict guidelines as to how you can structure a page and what kind of code you can use to build it. So it's a separate platform that your site is built on practically, and it whenever somebody visits your site, if they, let's say you have an AMP page and it shows up in search results because it ranks well and you have great content, then when somebody clicks on that, they aren't actually visiting your website as they traditionally would. Google is hosting that information, and they were relying on Google servers to serve up that page really quickly.
It feels like to me we're going back to the whole mobile version of a page by doing AMP.
Pretty much, that's a good way to put it. It's a boiled down, different version of a page entirely.
So Google's basically said, well, we tried to get you to do responsive and boil it down. You couldn't do that right. So we're going to go back and give you create our own technology, our own standards, host them ourselves, because we want you to do mobile versions of your site using our server, our technology, our guidelines. And if you do it our way, we're going to rank you higher. We're going to make your clicks cheaper.
Right. Well, and the critical thing to remember about AMP pages is just because you have an AMP page doesn't necessarily directly correlate, causate with a higher ranking. So the cause and effect there is a little bit interesting because there are so many factors at play with the content, the page load speed, the platform, what the query is, what the intent of the searcher is. But generally what you'll see is, because the page generally loads faster on an AMP platform, on the AMP technology, you'll inherently see rankings increase, but it doesn't directly cause a rankings increase. So there are kind of some secondary side effects there. And the other thing that's really interesting about the AMP pages now is Google has begun to show a little bit of it's a little icon almost. If you look in search results, you'll see pages that are AMP enabled, if that makes sense. And so when you're scrolling on your device, you'll be able to see that it's an AMP page, and people will start to associate that. That means that page is going to load faster, and so that can increase your click-through rates. And I mean that could affect your click-through rate, which can affect.
I have some doubts that that's actually going to work. I really do. I just don't think I'm going to take the time to notice the AMP icon and say, "Oh, this is going to load faster," so I'm going to click on it.
Well, I think that's an interesting debate we could have and talk about. I mean, do you think people have begun to notice ads versus traditional organic rankings and such?
No, I think people.
Or do you think they even care?
In my opinion, I think people think ads are a source of good information as well as organic rankings. I don't think the general population knows the difference, to be honest, from specifically a search engine marketing ad. But I also think those that do think that an ad could be a source of quality information depending on the way it's written, as well as an organic ranking.
I don't, but I'm a little biased. So
you think people do?
Well, I don't trust all the ads.
I don't trust all the ads, but I think there's a
depends
lot
on
of
the
times
search.
there's good content in an ad as well as that answers my question, as well as as an organic right.
Yeah,
Page.
and it's probably just because I know a little more than the general layman does about how it works. I have a little bit of a negative bias toward the ads because I think they didn't earn that spot. They're just paying to show up there.
Yeah, but I know lots of times for our clients that we've created wonderful content that's out there that answers the question related around the query and the keyword, and then the ad can provide just as good a solution as at the rank. Or even better, we've actually paid for an ad and we're ranking organically because we want to make sure 100% that the user, the persona we're targeting, has the ability to go out and find who we're looking for.
Definitely, and there's always quality score elements with an ad as well. So it's not like in the wild west days of early on AdWords where you weren't really sure what kind of quality experience you're going to have when you click through the ad. So there's at least a certain level of quality guaranteed when you click on
No,
that.
definitely, and it's not anymore. You pay enough, and even if your quality score is bad, they won't serve you. If your quality score bad, they're not going to serve your ad. It doesn't have relevant content for this keyword.
Mm-hmm.
Google's just going to reject it and go, that's a bad user experience. Someone's going to click on that ad. They're not going to use Google. They're going to go use Bing or DuckDuckGo or whoever for the next time around. So we're not interested in it. All right, that was our rabbit hole to chase AdWords. We probably could do a whole midday roast chasing that rabbit specifically. Ads versus SEM and paid ads and how to create good content that works on both of them. But let's go back to this algorithm update because it's coming. It's going to come in July. It's not necessarily July 1st. If your pages are loading slow, you're going to have a problem. So what specific action items do you want to tell people to take?
Yeah, the first thing I think I would do, just as a general guideline, is Google has some tools available that you can go and test your site load speed yourself, see how it's doing. And I would also recommend testing it not just once and relying on that, but test it at different times of the day or different days of the week because things can change depending on your server's load and how much traffic you have, and there are a lot of different factors involved with that. So see if you can get an average of how it's loading and an average load speed. That's generally the first good step. The next thing to do is looking at what Google is telling you could be better. With these tests, they'll generally outline some of the high priority items that can have a really big impact. Generally what we'll see is images have a big impact. People will have images that are too large on their site, and if you optimize those images, and then that will have a huge impact. That's generally our first go-to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, make sure your images are the right size, and it's really hard because a lot of websites are designed now with huge images that need to have a significant amount of heft, weight, megabytes to them to look good on a high resolution monitor. So, but we also have to make sure those images scale down to where when you load them on a responsive mobile device in your own Wi-Fi that's slow or doesn't work well all the time, it's going to load up right. But so go check your site using the Google test. How do we find that? Where is it?
I believe that's on Test with Google. Is that right?
Yeah, let's see.
We got that somewhere.
Testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com.
Testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com.
Yep.
Taking
Or
out
if
those
you
links
just go and Google mobile speed test, you're going to get Google's result. Google tends sometimes to put their own stuff up at the top somehow. But go and Google that. Definitely, this is an issue. This is something you should be addressing today. You shouldn't be waiting 2 weeks to address it. You need to make sure your site loads fast. You're going to use that calculator, and you want to be in the 3 to 5 second range. We've been testing sites and specifically long pages that have lots of transactional data on them. We're getting 18 or 20 seconds. And the nice thing about the calculator, it's even telling you like what percentage of visitors are going to abandon your page before it loads and don't even have an opportunity to transact with you. This was a great topic for Midday Roast. Very relevant, up to date, immediately. There's a couple other things happening industry-wide right now. Instagram's rolling out Instagram TV. We're having a discussion. Not everybody's gotten the update yet, but basically an opportunity to push long-form video out through Instagram. It's a new little icon at the top right, IGTV, near your DM arrow that you'll see on Instagram. check that out, see what people are pushing out there. There's several people already taking advantage of it. I noticed that I follow. And it's just a great way I think they're pushing discovery. So we want people to watch more TV on their device. I'd actually look to see another app rolled out by Facebook in the video world, and possibly like a Roku or Apple TV app from Facebook or Instagram to take advantage of that on the big screen TV. And for them, it's just another advertising opportunity. Facebook is cutting back some of their ad opportunities now with GDPR and some of their privacy issues. So that's another opportunity for them there. And again, it's a mobile device. Everything that we're talking about, who knew 5 years ago we said mobile was coming, but who knew in 5 years it would all be 100% mobile. Any last words, John?
No, make those sites faster.
Make those sites faster. All right. Well, appreciate everyone for joining us for Midday Roast. We're going to do a slight schedule change moving forward. We're not doing Midday Roast every week. We're going to switch to do it every other week, but still going to bring you a good quality conversation and content and new information doing that moving forward. Hope you stay tuned and you listen to our podcast. And if you have any questions, jump in and ask us in the comments later on, and we'll get back to you. Thanks for joining.